It was this very day 38 years ago that Richard Petty baptized Pocono, winning the first Sprint Cup race here. But the trucks didn't dip their toes in the long pond until 2 years ago. For one driver today, the third time at Pocono will most certainly be the charm. We are just now hitting the halfway point of the Camping World Truck Series schedule. Race number 11 of 22 taking place here at Pocono. A busy weekend on this track. Sprint Cup Series qualifying just finishing up. Hello everyone, I'm Krista Voda. Welcome to the setup from Pocono. First it was Sadler over Kane, then it was Harvick's turn. Today another Cup cameo appearance taking place. Denny Hamlin driving for Kyle Busch, and Hamlin making big news, announcing yesterday that he will ring in the new year as a new father in 2013. But we have a lot of other drivers to talk about, a lot of other stories coming your way. Tim George is driving for the team that won the first truck race here, but driving isn't his only skill. Ray Dunlap was in charge of the seasoning on this story. Hint, hint. It was an off weekend for the Truck Series drivers last week. Well, not all of them. We will show you how rookie Dakota Armstrong made sure he took a turn in his home state. And he doesn't have the most wins, but he does have the upper hand. We will shine a spotlight on points leader Timothy Peters. But up first, Hermie Sadler and Ray Dunlap will be covering the pits for this race today. And Hermie, the stat book for the trucks at Pocono is not very thick, but two big names have been to victory lane.
Well, you're right, Krista. And this number 2 truck behind me went to victory lane in both the previous races here at Pocono, but that was contested on the old pavement. And a lot of experience went to victory lane. Elliott Sadler won the inaugural race back here in 2011. You can see the burnout right here at the start-finish line at Pocono. Kevin Harvick came back last year, 2012, and absolutely dominated this race, last year with this 2 truck. But if you look at qualifying today, you got names like Nelson Piquet, Ty Dillon, Miguel Paludo, Joey Coulter. It looks like, at least for qualifying today, that youth and exuberance has been victorious today. Will it hold up for the race? We'll have to wait and see. Ray Dunlap?
Well, Hermie, if we're talking about experience, you really can only go with one guy in this field today, and that's Denny Hamlin. He's driving Kyle Busch's number 18, and Hamlin's got like 250 wins here at this track, so you expect him to be good, right? Well, I'm not sure. They weren't that great in practice, and they're in mid-pack when we talk about qualifying. But when I look at this entire season, it's been a year of many, many different winners. We've had 10 races this year and already 8 different winners. I think we could break a record this season. The record is 14, and many, many people think that Denny Hamlin will add his name to that list today. We'll see how it plays out. Krista?
Well, Ray, you're right. Denny Hamlin definitely has the experience, but we have a lot of guys who are trying to make it to victory lane for the very first time in their career. Right behind me, the truck of Nelson Piquet on the pole. Piquet still looking for his first win. Perhaps it's his turn. The first 2 rows, actually, all 4 drivers looking for their first win in the Truck Series. It could happen for one of them today. Coming up, Dakota Armstrong grew up on a farm in Indiana, so there was no way he was going to let the Indianapolis weekend go by without getting on track in the shadow of the Brickyard. Plus, when Tim George is not on the racetrack, what is he doing? Well, he's in the kitchen. And let's just say he is not just slapping something together or opening up a box of Hamburger Helper, as Ray found out.
We got this guy playing defense, turning my water off. That's not cool. Trying to do a little couscous in that, so I need it to be boiling.
The setup is brought to you by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. By eHarmony.com, where dates have a chance of becoming something more. And by Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand, Mobil 1. Ty Dillon will be trying to bounce back from his worst finish of the year. It was 12th at Chicago. He's never raced a truck here at Pocono, but he does have ARCA experience, and he starts on the front row. His teammate Joey Coulter raced here last year and finished 6th. Joey also with a great starting spot. Joey Coulter will roll off 4th. Welcome back to Pocono. There's a third RCR truck, the number 2, driven by Tim George. Good truck. Elliott Sadler drove that number to victory lane in the first race here 2 years ago. But Tim has his own secret recipe for success. No, really, he actually has a recipe. You see, Tim George is a chef, and the perfect combination for somebody who knows how to make food, guys who know how to eat food.
Hey guys, we're here at the Childress Vineyards in Welcome, North Carolina, where Ray Dunlap and Tim George Jr. believe they're doing an interview for the truck race in Pocono. But actually, what we've got set up is an old-fashioned cook-off. Let's go surprise them.
Coming from New York, how you got started in racing, and
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
hi, Rick.
What are you doing here?
I believe you were thinking you were here for an interview today. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, we're going to change things up. Since the two of you think you are such culinary experts, we're going to find out who the best chef is amongst the two of you. You up for it?
Hey, we can't just sit
Maybe.
here and drink some Childress wine?
Well, you can drink Childress wine, but you have to cook as well. All right, gentlemen, the competition is you each have to make a meal incorporating the 4 special ingredients that we've got here: kiwi, paprika, chocolate syrup, and hot dogs. Your 40 minutes start now.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs, huh? So I'm thinking to myself, we are gonna have steak, and I'm gonna have lobster, and I'm gonna have chocolate syrup.
Kiwi, though. I don't know about kiwi.
Oh,
This is tough.
baby. Nothing goes better with kiwi than hot dogs, I've always said.
Can't believe I'm using chocolate syrup on steak.
I need some of that.
What are you
thank
doing here?
Yes, a little of that, a little of that. Gotta keep them moving, keep them moving, keep them moving.
We're gonna have to wing this couscous. Borrow this thing. He's used it already. We got a fire in the kitchen. Completely planned. What are you talking about?
Secret here is lots of wine. It makes everything taste good. And it makes the cook feel good.
Actually, might be a new dish I'd do at home. Stick that back in the convection. What is he doing over there? That's one thing. I love to cook, but I am not a fan of cleaning up. He's getting serious with that deal. Salad, the master chop right here. I actually do that. It's not really a professional way, but works.
Done.
Well, I got these magical Brussels sprouts coming out of the oven soon.
I remember.
That's gonna save me right there, I think, folks.
All right, as the food's being presented, our panel of judges today: Ty Dillon, driver of the number 3 Bass Pro Shops Chevy Silverado, and we have our executive chef here at Childress Vineyards. This is Chris Wagner, so he is the true taste tester here. But go ahead, Tim, please present your meal to us.
All right. It's only right to serve the chef first since we are in his house here at Childress Vineyards. We had some mystery ingredients, so it was pretty tough to cook. But we had some improvisions, and we made it right.
And what did you call it? I don't know if I've ever even heard of this.
Couscous is almost like a cross between a white rice and a pasta. But for me, I really like it. It's a Middle Eastern type dish.
Seeing that I've only had 2 items off this whole thing before in my life, it's pretty amazing, actually. It's pretty good. I have to give it to you.
I went in a completely different direction than Tim, although I would have loved to have made steak. What I decided to do was more of like a gumbo.
This reminds me a lot of, like you said, gumbo. Creole seasoning, all of it. Spicy, smoky. Scallops cook perfect too. I like it. And it's a great way to use the hot dog to mask the hot dog flavor in it.
But I
If you
love
put a
the
little bit
chocolate
nicer.
in the salad. I love that.
That was awesome.
That
That's a
great.
great idea.
First off, I want to tell you that it was an extremely difficult judging process. Both dishes were phenomenal. You did an excellent job. And Chris, I want to let you kind of expound on that a little bit. Obviously, you have a lot more experience when it comes to preparing food.
I was expecting a failure on one of you or both of you, and I didn't see it. I thought both dishes were seasoned well, they were cooked well, they're presented well.
Out
Very
of a
different.
possible 45 points, that it was 1 point that decided the winner today. And we want to congratulate with a bottle of Richard Childress's Meritage, Ray Dunlap. Congratulations. Winner of our cook-off challenge.
Only Ray would try to spray wine on it. I can't believe Tim is never going to live that down. By the way, here is a list of our favorite foods. My mom's taco salad, of course, tops my list. Rick, very original with pizza. Phil likes good old-fashioned meatloaf. Michael, big surprise, he loves the watermelons. Hermie,
Hey,
what do you
Krista,
mean, ask Hermie?
Krista, look, my favorite dish is fettuccine Alfredo with grilled chicken, served exclusively at Fosho Italian Sports Grill and Emporia. We offer drive-in, catering, carry-out service.
Yeah, we get it. Thanks for the shameless plug there, Hermie. Very nice. And there you see Ray's favorite food. Ray, the top chef with Creole etouffee. He told me the main ingredient in that, by the way, is crawfish. And in case you're wondering, Steve Burns' favorite meal is grilled chicken and brown rice. Steve Burns will be sitting down for an exclusive one-on-one interview with Dale Earnhardt Jr. this week on Race Hub. Now that Dale is the points leader, he is not just a chase hopeful, he is a serious championship contender. Hear what Dale Earnhardt Jr. has to say when he talks to Steve on Race Hub, Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. Of course, we have a truck race today, a 50-lap shootout. We are just about 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes from the green flag for today's event. Still to come on the setup, the summer months have been very good to Timothy Peters. He may not be the loudest or the flashiest driver, but he is quietly marching to a championship.
Yeah. It looks good when you're getting compressed, and just as you start to roll, it comes up. He said, and everybody's just doing that. And if we can get that out of it, I think it'll be really, really good.
And Dakota Armstrong grew up just a few zip codes away from Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman, and he followed their path all the way to NASCAR. Stick around for more. Timothy Peters hasn't finished outside the top 5 in nearly 2 months. No wonder he is leading the points. But this is still anyone's game. Speaking of points, Jason White jumps 3 spots. He is back in the top 10. There you see Timothy having a good time before this race gets started. The only other position change is second and third. Lofton drops while Dylan climbs, but the insurance policy for Peters is growing. He was 12 points ahead of second. Now that gap is 23. Yesterday, Denny Hamlin announced he will soon be a dad. Well, Timothy Peters made that same announcement last month. He and his wife, Sarah, are due in December. But first, Timothy is hoping to make room for a Truck Series Championship trophy. How are things going at Pocono? Well, here's an inside look at how his Friday fared.
Come on back. You're all clear. Come on back. 56.46. Quick time is a 55.24, and the tires are getting faster and faster. P1, 55.14. Run it hard back around here and come in the pits. That's P1. Good job. You guys are going out and going faster the second time. It's going to be a no-tire race. You're all clear. Come back.
We got a problem. Shifter just broke the knob off. Ball went down under the seat somewhere.
The threads pull out of that ball?
Broke at the thread.
Oh, I'm glad that happened now. That'd have been a long day for you without no ball on there. Come on, back. All clear. You know, looking at this, I really think we need to scuff the qualifiers. What we'll do is before we switch over, the last thing we'll do is we'll just fire them on here. And you go out and run 2 or 3 laps on them, and then come back, and we'll let them cool off and then make a mock run, okay?
Some of the tracks we go to, and with this new pavement and this new tire for us, it's better to get a few laps on them, and they have more grip right away when you try to go out and qualify. So we got a really good set of scuffs for the race. It'll be a one-stop race, and we got a really good set of scuffs to qualify with.
So you don't grind the right front. Just if you got to slow down a little bit. We'll just scuff both sets real quick here, and then we'll start it on that.
You'll have the option here. If you go out and run really good on this mock set, we'll start the race on them. We'll qualify on them if that's better, you know. That'll give us one set that's not scuffed quite as much, this set, and then we'll have a set that's scuffed a little more, and you can pick, okay? Okay, that's what we wanted to do, man. I'll work with the air pressures just a little bit from there, and we'll be good to go.
I don't think we're bad at all.
You too, driver. You're really getting to figure this place out. It's awesome. Good job, everybody. Thank you a ton.
Our Toyota Tundra's pretty fast today. Butch Hilton and all the guys did a great job tuning me up. and man, this place is fast. They did a great job repaving it.
And who knows more about a truck than a driver's wife? Sarah Peters just tweeting that Timothy is really happy with the balance of his truck. You know Timothy Peters will be a factor today. The starting line for champions. That's the mantra of the United States Auto Club. And it's true. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, they all got their start in USAC. All three grew up in Indiana. So did Dakota Armstrong. He was paying attention to that plan, and recently he returned to his roots.
Hi, I'm Dakota Armstrong. We had a week off from truck racing, so decided to go to my shop, Newcastle, Indiana, and go back to my roots, USAC open wheel racing. I started racing when I was 12. I started doing non-wing sprint cars when I was 14, and then once you turn 16, you're allowed to do the USAC, sprint cars and midgets. Now my cousin and my brother are the ones that run out of the shop. We're at Lucas Oil Raceway with me, my brother, and my cousin. We're getting ready to do some hot laps.
I enter try up here, and I feel like I'm just in like a...
Yeah.
I'm just racing the track.
I pretty much like where the track's divided, the line, like I enter just like right there and then just go straight past it and then I go up. What kind of times the fast guys run yet? Is anyone in the 9s or are people running those?
It's probably like 21.3 and 4, 21.2 maybe.
In mine. Really?
Yeah.
I really was slow in that last set. Like I could just feel it.
It was like 5s and 6s.
Oh, it wasn't turning. We're not great, but we're all the exact same pretty much. The times are all pretty close. Yeah, 4th place was only a 10th faster than him. And he's 7 spots back, so everybody just running the same time right now. We're gonna be starting kind of deep, mid-pack, so we're gonna have to make all our passes, soon, since it's only a 30-lapper. But it'll be fun. Start off a little tight, and some dude jumped my right rear on that big wreck. Everybody was starting to spin out, and I don't know if something got knocked out of place or what, but the right rear grew a whole inch, so the thing was just really free. It was just dead sideways.
I didn't knock that out.
Something happened bad.
When they just rammed you?
Yeah, because it was so dead tight when we first started, and then it just went free. I mean, it was so bad it would get in and lay over.
It might have broke the rear, or the rear arm.
Went from one extreme to the other in a matter of laps, so we're gonna put a damper on our car here, just trying to get it. We kind of had to ride, the rest of the race. It was still cool to come out and knock off a little bit of the rust. I just can't wait to get back in and do it again, so we can have a good finish.
I think little brother Dalton looks just like hockey star Sidney Crosby. Dalton is 11th in the midget standings right now. There you see Dakota Armstrong getting ready for today's race. By the way, Tony Stewart hopped a plane over to Williams Grove last night and won the 360 wing sprint car feature. Does he ever take a night off? Well, we don't. Coming up, have we given you enough info to make a pick for today's race? And does your choice match ours? Fantasy results and picks are next when the setup continues from Pocono. The setup is brought to you by Atlanta Motor Speedway. 3 nights under the lights, Labor Day weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Get 2 front stretch tickets for only $99. And by New Auto Stop. It's foolproof. Gray is over. Some other drivers to keep an eye on here today at Pocono. Todd Bodine, he's a veteran. He starts 12th. Also, Ron Hornaday, he's going to start in the top 10. Keep your eye on guys with lots of Pocono experience. Of course, the trucks have only been here twice, so maybe experience doesn't really matter, because would you believe those veterans are still on the table when it comes to our fantasy picks. First, let's look at the standings. Ray is still in the lead, but a little foreshadowing, he might be in trouble with his pick today, but he did pick the winner last week. We're talking about James Busher, so that means Ray gets another sticker on the helmet. We are seeing way too much of Ray on here. I'm going to go ahead and put him right over here. He's going to keep Hermie company. So Ray wins again, but Hermie gets to pick first.
Well, I do get to pick first, and I'm going to go over here and talk to my driver quickly. 1 second. Excuse me, sir. Don't be bothering my driver today. Denny, I know you love... Oh, yeah, you're his driver. I know you love to golf. In golfing terms, you spotted these guys about 3 strokes aside. How you going to make it up for me?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I don't know. He says I'm out of the throttle too much, so... I'm hoping once I get in race trim here and I get around other trucks, I'll figure out what I'm doing, because when it's low horsepower, high drag, I seem to struggle a lot. So I don't know. I never dreamed I'd qualify this bad, but you know, we got big draft out here. Conditions are going to change, so I think we'll be okay.
Well, I hope so, because this is my pick, and I need maximum points today at Pocono. Mikey?
That's your pick? I'm glad I didn't take him. My guy is on the pole. And you know, this race has been won the first 2 times they've run here from the pole. The last time my guy was on the pole, he dominated down at Rockingham, had a little bit of trouble on pit road. I think he puts all that trouble behind him today. And Nelson Piquet drives his truck to victory lane. What do you think about that, Krista?
Well, I like that. He's actually right behind me out here on the grid. He's listening to some music right now in his headphones, so he's very calm, as you see. But my pick, you know, this is the honeymoon capital of the world. Well, Matt Crafton, his wife Ashley, got married in the offseason. He's been on a honeymoon lately. His last 4 races, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. Victory lane is just waiting for him. He's had top 10s in both races here. I'm going with Crafton today, Rick.
Well, Crafton, I think, is a pretty solid pick, but the guy who's going to win the race this week is the guy who won the race almost a year ago. But it was in the ARCA series, and that would be Ty Dillon, and his truck is right behind you, Krista, so you're going to have to get out of the way because he will be on his way to the front. Right, Phil?
He is, but he's got to go through my guy. He's already ahead of him now, but my guy's going to get him. My guy's starting 8th. It's a point leader. He finished in the top 10 both the previous 2 races here at Pocono. Timothy Peters is going to get win number 2 for 2012 and extend that point lead.
Did you see my guy? He had on headphones. He's right.
He's ready?
He's rocking.
My guy's up front, by the way. He's up front.
Oh, we'll
Phil?
go now, Ray?
Yeah, Ray.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Because I'm always last to pick, that's because I've been leading the standings for so long, I'm never quite sure if I'm going to get the guy I wanted. But today, again, you left the best truck and the best driver on the plate for me. That is before qualifying. I picked Justin Lofton, and here's what happened while he was on the racetrack. He thought he had a good enough truck to get through the center of this corner. He comes through there really good until just a little bit. Spins it out, so that means this guy will have to come from the back of the pack. And is it possible for you to win from 36 today?
Oh, it definitely is. You know, that's the big thing about this team is they never give up. And we've been in this position before. We won a championship starting from the very last starting spot, so we can definitely win a race.
All right, this builds character. Justin Lofton rolls off from the back, but I'm sticking with him. The 6 is my pick. Krista?
Builds character. You just opened the floodgate for the rest of us. We love it. We can't wait. The Truck Series races are always intense, but this one is even elevated. Only 125 miles. That is just 50 laps. Blink and you will miss something. Driver makes a mistake. Chances are his day is done. The Pocono Mountains 125 is anything but a quiet retreat. It will happen right now on Speed.
Track bounce, you're going straight down. I wasn't born to lose. Keep in mind now the time that you leave here. You'll be seeing the blues. Always on top, always gonna win. Never give it up, never give it in. Always on top, always gonna win. Never give it up, never give it in. Next stage, front page, you know you're going down. I've gone through this before. You can't sit or quit, not this time around. I'm coming at you for more. Always on top, always gonna win. Never give it up, never give it in.
Long Pond, Pennsylvania, a quiet town tucked into the Pocono Mountains, known for romantic getaways and a slower pace of life. Oh, how ironic, as the wildlife surrounding this racetrack is about to run for cover. NASCAR is about to roar to life. Just the 3rd time the Camping World Truck Series has raced at Pocono, but it's already become one to circle on the calendar. Timothy Peters, most certainly one to watch today. The points leader, he has been Mr. Consistency. The 3-time winner this season, James Busher, has been Mr. Victory. The pole sitter, Nelson Piquet, Mr. Overdue for a win. And the Cup driver who loves this track, Denny Hamlin, announced he's about to be Mr. Mom. Well, after his announcement that he will be a dad by this time next year, he is ready to race. Right now, they are all hoping to be the next Truck Series winner. We keep things trackside for opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Hanover Township Volunteer Fire Company presents our nation's colors. Remain standing as Father Mike Clotton offers today's invocation.
Let us pray. God, our loving Father, we thank you for bringing us to the beautiful Pocono Mountains to this awesome truck race. We ask your blessing on all here present, the fans, the employees, the drivers, and their families, and especially those dedicated men and women who serve our country here and abroad. We know that you will keep the rain up in heaven and your shining sun down upon the earth. Bring us through this race without those nasty yellow flags, and to the end of this race under that glorious green, and over the finish line to the true checkered black and white. And we pray this in your name. I didn't hear it from the stands. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome PGA Golf Pro from Sugarloaf Country Club in Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania, Clark Lewis.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Sadler and Harvick are the only two who have won here before. Neither one is in the race, so we know we will have a new Pocono winner, but who will it be? We don't have to wait very long to get that answer.
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. By the all-new 252 horsepower Ford Focus ST. And by Allstate, the only car insurance with a claim satisfaction guarantee. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. We're about to get underway with a very short race. A few different topics that we'll talk about. The fact of the matter is, this is one of the shortest races on one of the longest racetracks we run on. So what will be the strategy today? And wide open. That means the field is wide open. Who will get to victory lane? We're about to find that out. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip with you once again. Phil, let's talk about, we're at a 2.5-mile racetrack, but this is one of the shortest races we run.
It is. It's, time-wise, this will be the shortest race. It may not be the fastest race, but it's going to be the fastest running race. Right now, a lot of the talk in the garage area is to run this race like a road course. It takes so long to get around here, 50-some seconds, that these guys can feel like they can come in the pits if they're within about 10 seconds of the lead, make their stop for fuel and tires, get back out without losing a lap. They know they can go about 30 laps on fuel, so they're looking at, if we go green, they're going to look around lap 20 to come make their pit stop, and that may be it for this entire race, Mikey.
You know, that makes this race wide open. You talk about a short race on a big track. That's pretty cool to start with, but this is new pavement. The first two times we raced here, veterans had won, but the pavement was old and it was bumpy, and you had to really know a lot about the track to get the job done. This place is smooth as glass, and I bet you Nelson Piquet Jr.'s truck feels like a Formula One car, all darting. You can drive the heck out of it. When he heads to pit road, though, that's not safe either. In the Cup race here just a couple of months ago, 22 speeding penalties on pit road. Right. Talk about wide open. This race defines wide open.
And, of course, we've got a very young front row, Nelson Piquet Jr. and Ty Dillon, two drivers that have never been to victory lane. We've also had quite a few different winners this season already. Are we going to see a different winner at victory lane today?
We've got a great group of guys potentially to get to victory lane. And you talk about this racetrack, the pole was 7 miles an hour faster than the old track record. I just think that lends itself to maybe somebody without that much experience maybe get in the victory lane.
What about one more wide open point? Mr. NASCAR Pocono, Denny Hamlin, starting 16th. Formula One dude on the pole. It's pretty wide open. I'm talking major wide open.
And remember, Denny Hamlin, when he came here as a rookie in the Cup Series, was able to win both Cup races at this very racetrack. So he's got the experience to get up front. Let's see if another rookie can get to victory lane. Let's fire the engines. Here's the command.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome the soldiers from the 5th Special Forces Unit out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Drivers, start your engines!
And that was literally a command. All 36 trucks came to life the moment those words were spoken. Green flag will fly next here on Speed. Trucks are rolling off of pit road onto the 2.5-mile triangular shaped racetrack. We're getting ready for the halfway point race in the 2012 season. Starting grid will roll across the bottom of the screen. And again, we talk about Nelson Piquet Jr. grabbing another pole. Ty Dillon, those two drivers have never been to victory lane in the Camping World Truck Series, but it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, a couple other guys knocking on the door as well. Joey Coulter, Miguel Paludo have been strong this season.
And the guy that's won 3 times this year starts inside the top 5, so he'll be a cat to watch for sure.
Pretty good qualifying run for Paulie Haraki. He'll start on the inside of Timothy Peters.
Never count out a guy like Ron Hornet, a 4-time champion here in the series.
And a good run for John West Townley, too, just outside the top 10.
Takes us back into row 7 before we see Johnny Sauter and Jason White. And then we go back to row 8 before we see a guy who looked like he was going to be a favorite, Denny Hamlin. And he'll have a long way to go to get up front. Mikey, why don't we try to talk to him?
I'll do it, Rick. Hey, Denny Hamlin, Michael Waltrip up in the speed booth. Do you copy?
10-4.
When we think of Pocono, we think about Denny Hamlin. When we think somebody on the front row up front fighting for the lead, we think Denny. You got a ways to go today, though, bud.
Yeah, we do, but I can't thank Kyle and GNC enough for having me in it this weekend. You know, it's not quite the qualifying effort I was looking for, but yeah, I'll figure it out in the race why I'm so slow.
Well, the cat's starting right there in front of you, your friend Jason White. Let's put a line out. What's the over-under on you passing him before you get to turn 1?
I've already promised him that I would push him at least into turn 1. After that, he's on his own.
All right, man. Have a great day. It's going to be fun watching you in that GNC M&M's Toyota go to the front. Have fun.
Appreciate it, guys.
Take a look at our auto stop track description. And again, we talk about this is a very unique racetrack. 3 different turns here.
Yeah, and designed off of 3 different racetracks. Turn 1 was designed off of Trenton, New Jersey, 14-degree banking. Turn 2, the tunnel turn, was designed off of Indianapolis. And then down in turn number 3, that was Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I've been here many years, as you, Phil, and I've been in all 3 of those states and didn't know where I was at the same time. This place can really confuse you. You have to set your truck up to be balanced in all these corners, which probably means a sacrifice in one or the other of them.
Our Royal Purple race analysis shows the pit window at 30 to 32 laps. Again, this race is only 50 laps long.
Yeah, they have several sets of tires in the pits, more than most of these crew chiefs think they're going to need. Again, they're looking at getting somewhere around 20 laps, whether the caution comes out or not, and coming to pit road.
Again, the wide open state of this race, pit road strategy is going to play a big part of how this thing goes down today.
We ride along with a few different drivers. Mikey, it looks like we've got a camera with Justin Lofton.
Yeah, and we're going to see the whole field out in front of Justin. He had a crash during qualifying. Talked to his truck owner yesterday, Eddie Sharp. He said, we're good tomorrow. I know we're going to be good. Well, I think that plan might have got altered during qualifying, so Jason will roll off from the 35th starting spot.
We're also going to ride along with Parker Kligerman. He's in the Cooper Standard Ram. He's going to start from the 17th spot. One finish this year worse than 11th in the entire season.
We got a couple of good trucks here. Denny Hamlin starting 16th. He's going to be charging toward the front. We got Lofton in the back. He's coming to the front. So great picks for our cameras today. You see Denny there warming up in his GNC Toyota.
We're going to ride along with my fantasy pick, our point leader, the Red Horse Toyota of Timothy Peters. Timothy will start from the 8th spot, outside row number 4.
Got a lot of cameras all the way around this racetrack and a few inside the truck, so we'll give you some great pictures today. Also, we'll continue to tell the stories, and with more of those, we go to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. One of my favorite things is being in victory lane with a first-time winner, and this year we've already had 3. John King, James Busher, and Justin Lofton have got their first career wins, and there's quite a few guys, as you've mentioned already up top, that could make it happen today. Here's 4 that are on my mind, and 3 of these drivers qualified 4th or better. But I've specifically got my eye on Ty Dillon. At Indianapolis a week ago, I think Ty Dillon learned a little something about how coming off of the corners can make it better than the entry. He told me he likes Pocono, and he thinks today's the day the 3 truck gets back to victory lane in Truck Series racing. Hermie?
Well, Ray, to win a race that's only 50 laps in length, the driver has to be virtually perfect, not only on the racetrack, but also on pit road. Go back to June, the Sprint Cup Series race here, a total of 14 drivers got pit road speeding penalties leaving pit road. Some drivers even got more than one. A pit road penalty today would be devastating, not only for trying to win this race at Pocono, but potentially for a championship. Rick?
Thanks, Hermie. And remember, this is the first time the trucks are on the newly repaved triangle. I mean, this is a racetrack that's completely new to them, as well as a pit road that's different from a year ago.
And you know what I love, Phil? This place has taken on a whole different character with this pavement job. When you look at those trucks exiting turn 1 with no grass over there after all the years of racing with the big grass infield to the left, it just has a whole different feel and look to it.
And my hats off to the staff here, Brandon Nickdowski and his guys, for what they've done.
Great crowd on hand. It looks like they're going to go around one more time. We'll take a quick break. Be back for the green. And the field making their way around Pocono Raceway one more time. You take a look at Pocono Raceway, the track repaved, new concrete on the pit boxes. And of course, Doc Mattioli, his wife, passing.
Turning the
reins over to the grandchildren.
Yeah, and that's awesome. He's done a great job. Shorten the Cup race up tomorrow to 400 miles, repave this place. So many exciting things happening here at Pocono. Heck, if you go by the Pocono souvenir rig and sign up and Dale Jr. wins the race, a fan could win $100,000 tomorrow.
That's a pretty good deal.
I remember you finishing second here for your first good finish in a Cup car back 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was exactly right. Thank you, Phil. And it was an amazing day for me to run second in a Cup car. That was 1988. And we got a truck having a little bit of trouble already, guys.
Yeah, we saw one making its way down on the access road. And that's the 10 of Jennifer Jo Cobb.
Great job in qualifying by Jennifer Jo. She had qualified in the 24th spot, but some smoke coming out of that truck and the green flag in the air.
The race to turn number 1 begins. A long straightaway here at Pocono.
And remember, unlike the Cup cars, no shifting with these trucks. They're going to stay in high gear all the way around.
Working their way through one of the tightest turns here.
Oh, Ty Dillon into the outside wall.
Talking about a short race, got to get things done quickly. Ty Dillon from the outside of the front row runs into the wall.
Looked like he lost the front end to the exit of the corner. He was going wide, and then we saw him bounce off the safer barrier.
Miguel Paludo in the 32 moving up as well.
Whoa, these guys are they're slipping and sliding everywhere through the tunnel. You know how hard that turn is, Phil. You get just a little bit out of the groove, and there's no grip.
And we always talk about the tunnel turn. Everybody says, okay, well, you can't go wide open through the tunnel turn. Well, there were some drivers that went wide open during qualifying through that tunnel turn.
Look at Johnny Sauter with a problem already.
Issues for Johnny Sauter, Ty Dillon already. Early in this race, as we just completed our first lap, Nelson Piquet Jr. has a 1.5 second lead over James Busher. Parker Kligerman moved to the inside of Tim George Jr. Those two side by side for position.
That's Ross Chastain up on the 08 Watermelon truck coming off turn 1. Good run early going there. Good first lap. Also, see if we can see what happens. Just too high, Phil.
Just too high. Got a little bit out of the groove. You see him. There he is, bouncing off the wall. Pretty slight contact, I would say. He stayed on the racetrack.
Like John West County, a little high there in the tunnel turn.
Looked like he had a bit of an issue and had to get out of the throttle.
What is up with Johnny Sauter?
The hard left turn for Johnny Sauter, Ray. Oh, I'm sorry, with the 3, what happened, Ray?
I just wanted to add, Rick, real quickly, Ty came on the radio and said he went into turn 1 and it absolutely would not turn, said he felt like he was on black ice, right into the wall, went to 3 track.
Now they're working around Parker Kligerman in the 29. You see the 2 also of Tim George Jr. working at the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by that 29.
Looks like Dylan has recovered from that little bump, Bill. You said it wasn't much contact to the outside wall, and he settled in just outside the top 10 and starting to pick off a few guys.
We saw both of the RCR trucks split. Parker Kligerman, Tim George Jr. Remember, he won here in the ARCA Racing Series for RCR as well.
A lot of the drivers and crew chiefs I talked to said the tires, they didn't think were going to be an issue. But with Ty Dillon, it might be an issue now, as he might develop a little bit of a tire rub because of bending that fender in.
Well, we haven't seen any smoke, so that's certainly a good sign. And you're right, Rick. The report from the garage area is these things are very durable and they hold their speed really well. That's why the strategy that Phil talked about in the opening of the race could come into play. These guys could run 20 laps or so and just under green flag come to pit road and get the service done and be set to the finish.
That may alter Ty's strategy just a little bit, because they may have to take a little extra time to beat out those fenders. And again, you want to be within about 10 seconds of the leader when you make that green flag pit stop in order to get out in front of them. But again, as you said, Michael, you have to be perfect. Everything has to go well with a pit stop and you getting onto and off of pit road.
And with the speed we've seen out of this 30 truck of Nelson Piquet Jr. all weekend long, it's going to be tough for anybody to stay within 10 seconds of him. It looks like he's very strong.
Johnny Sauter has finished 22nd or worse in 6 of the 10 races this season, and it's not looking good for him now, Hermie.
The 13 truck, Rick, is behind the wall. You can see right here on the replay, really getting up to speed. Johnny Sauter has issues, and what they're doing, he thinks he's diagnosed it as a transmission. The crew chief Joe Shear has ordered the team to change transmission and the drive shaft. And based on a comment from Johnny Sauter, apparently there was some suspicion maybe something was wrong after qualifying, but he is behind the wall. They will replace transmission and drive shaft. Tough break for the 13.
Remember last year, Johnny Sauter crashed in the tunnel turn in qualifying. They had to get a backup truck out. Still ended up finishing in the top 5, but not going to happen today.
Good run for Paulie Haraka here, just in front of Joey Coulter. He's got the 6th spot.
What about that run? We've seen a lot of speed out of him recently. He's gotten better and better, and this is certainly early in the going the strongest that truck's been all year.
Has Ted Musgrave up on the roof helping him along in spotting for him. Ted, champion in this series, a great race car driver, and that's really helped Paulie and Richie Waters.
Yeah, one other thing that I applauded them for, earlier in practice yesterday, they had Eric Almirola get into the truck and kind of feel it out and give him another set of opinions as far as how that truck was handling.
Man, this thing is so hard to do, Rick. You come in out of college like Paulie has and try to mix it up with guys like Joey Coulter, who's been racing all 22 years of his whole life. But, you know, guys that have experience with that RCR team and Denny Hamlin, some of these guys on the racetrack, it's so hard to get up to speed. I love them using all those resources to help Paulie. I mean, having Almirola in the truck and having Ted up top, those things are very valuable, and he's taken advantage of it. We've seen a lot more speed out of him recently.
Still the yellow stripe on the back bumper of that 5, but he is learning each and every race. Again, out front, we talk about staying within 10 to 15 seconds of race leader if you want to come to pit road. Not a lot of people are being able to do that right now. As a matter of fact, second place James Busher is 3 seconds behind Nelson Piquet Jr.
There's Justin Lofton. We saw Justin go to the back of the pack because of a crash during qualifying. He's made his way up into the top 20. Said he felt like he still had a good enough truck to win the race. This is a truck he ran at Iowa and had a good run there.
Well, you got to believe that too. And also, Phil, when we bunch these guys back up for the starts for the restarts, they're just crazy in the truck series. These things punch such a big hole in the air that you can get tremendous aerodynamic runs on other trucks. They'll be 3 wide into turn 1, and heck, no telling how many wide by the time they get to the tunnel. So that's when Justin will really have to use his experience and his knowledge that's helped him win a race before, in order to get through these guys and get up inside the top 10.
This being such a short race, we've completed 6 laps, going on lap 7. Does a long run, is that advantageous for a guy like Denny Hamlin, who has so much more experience at a racetrack like this?
I just feel like you need to bunch them up if you're going to make any ground. It's so hard to pass. Put them all in a glob and give me Denny Hamlin in that match.
Well, right now it's all Nelson Piquet Jr. out front at Pocono. Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It's still Nelson Piquet Jr. out in front. He has increased his lead to 3.2 seconds over James Busher. And we've got Timothy Peters, Matt Crafton, and Todd Bodine in the top 5. And that's a little bit crowded up there in the top 5. But we've expanded our broadcast booth a little bit here and added another voice to the group. And we've got Jeff Burton joining us up here. Jeff, thanks for joining us for this truck race.
Thanks for having me. I know why y'all up here now. You got a good view.
Best seat
cool
in the house.
Up here too.
It is cool up here.
And just an update from being within 10 seconds of the leader, not to lose a lap if you pit, you have to be in the top 5 now to do that.
Yes.
When we went to break, you could be in the top 10. That just tells you what kind of pace Nelson Piquet Jr. is setting. He's got 9 seconds over 5th place running Todd Bodine.
Yeah, he and James Buescher have seemed to take themselves into another class right now. Those two are separated by 3 seconds, but then it's 5 seconds back to Peters, 6 seconds back to Crafton, 8 seconds back to Bodine, and as you mentioned, Haraka is outside of 10 seconds in 6th right now.
Yeah, and there's 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th right there. Denny Hamlin got to 10th on the first lap. Only been able to push it up to 9th in the next 10 or 11 after that. And that group right there, Paulie Haraka leads that group. He's in 6th.
And early on in this race, as a matter of fact, right at the green flag, problems for the 13 team of Johnny Sauter. Let's hear from him. He's with Ray.
Well, Rick, the Hot Honeys Tundra is up on jack stands. Johnny, I see they're changing the transmission. What happened?
I wish I knew. Hot Honeys Kurt Toyota. Just had a little vibration qualifying, and I thought that it maybe got a little bit better by the end of my first lap, or the only lap that I ran. And tell you what, I never had a vibration like that in my life. I couldn't even breathe. So it was a bad enough vibration to break the steel shifter handle off. So either the drive shaft, transmission, or something with the drivetrain. But just the way 2012 is going.
So far, it has been all bad luck for Team 13.
Yeah, that's actually the second shifter knob to come off at this racetrack also, because Timothy Peters had the same issue in practice yesterday.
We saw it during the setup show, that little feature we did on Timothy. Yeah, absolutely right.
Miguel Paludo just in front of that 18 of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin has moved from 16th up to 9th now, fighting for the 8th spot with Miguel Paludo.
Jeff, how hard is it to pass here on this new pavement? We've seen Denny drive right up to the back of Paludo, get inside the top 10, and now he hasn't gone anywhere.
Well, it's really hard. What's happened is there's so much more grip in the racetrack that equalizes the trucks, although Piquet and Buescher aren't really proving that out. The trucks are so much more equal because it's less bumpy, it's a lot more grip. So a worse handling truck isn't as worse as it used to be compared to who they're racing with. So it makes it even that much harder to pass. So you see Hamlin, who has tons of experience, tons of wins here, he's really struggling to make that next step because he's lost all his aerodynamic advantage from being in clean air, and he's racing good trucks too. So that makes it very, very difficult.
Is there 2 grooves yet?
I don't think it's 2 grooves yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get there. In the Cup race here in the spring, it kept widening and kept widening. And actually, if you watch some qualifying, some cars ran about a groove and a half up in the Cup Series. So I think it's there, but I don't think that the guys really trust it just enough. And honestly, if the guy in front of you is on the very bottom, if you can't be in the 2nd lane or even the 3rd lane, it's really a disadvantage. So I don't think it's quite wide enough yet to use that as a pass.
You know, one of the things I've noticed, guys, is when we see the truck behind, we've been watching Denny, he doesn't have that splitter sealed down to the ground because he's in that dirty air. And so that's going to make that truck not quite as fast, so that's working against him as well.
And that's exactly what Jeff said. Aerodynamic disadvantage is really hard for Denny to overcome. We see him drive way down deep into the corners and close on Miguel, but when he gets up on the straightaway, his nose is all up in the air. It just makes it hard to manage.
And he's running slower now than I bet he did at any point in practice. So the relevance there is that, you set your truck up for the speed that you run in practice, and the truck gets a certain amount of travel. When you slow down a second, even if nobody's in front of you, your truck doesn't travel the same way. So that has a huge bearing on this too.
Did you see how high that thing was off the ground?
It's way off the ground.
Totally unusual.
But we talk about, obviously, the air not pushing the truck down, but shouldn't you be getting an advantage of drafting? I mean, he's busting the air in front of you. You should be able to suck up behind
You're losing more than you're gaining. That's the whole thing.
It's a trade-off.
At Daytona, Talladega, it's a gain every lap, everywhere being behind somebody. Here, the corners are so long and they're so flat, and you lose so much more grip that you're losing in more areas than you're gaining. And so you go a slower lap time because the larger percentage of time you're getting hurt rather than getting helped.
But you can see, Rick, like you said, every turn he comes up on Pluto, and then as they come off the turn, he loses that ground.
And both of you guys know from driving, he's really frustrated right now. He's driving a truck that he believes can win the race, and he's sitting there running nice. And he's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this done? He's hoping for a caution because he wants to make something happen on a restart.
Give me a restart. I'll make things work out.
Similar situation here. Paulie Haraka just in front of the 22 of Joey Coulter. Hermie.
Yeah, Rick, in the 22 of Coulter complaining about lack of grip. Just what Jeff Burton, you guys were talking about, that dirty air is preventing him from being able to turn like he needs to and accelerate. They're going to work on some forward bite for the 22, and he will be coming to pit road, whether it be under caution or under green, around lap 20. That's when most of the drivers on this end of pit road are expected to make their stop. Ray?
You know, Hermie, as I talked to a lot of the crew chiefs in the garage this weekend, many of them had quite a quandary on which truck to bring here to Pocono. It's such a gamble between the amount of downforce and drag that you have, and how do you get that right balance with all three of these corners being different. But for our leader, Nelson Piquet Jr. in that Auto Track Chevrolet, this is a brand new chassis, the newest truck out of Turner Motorsports. We've got a good battle back there as they go side by side, but out front, it's been smooth sailing for Piquet. And this particular truck, everybody in the garage told me that his entry speed into corner number 1 is about 4 miles an hour faster than any other truck. So they've got it figured out on the aero package going down the straightaways.
Yeah, look how that splitter is sealed to the racetrack. We didn't see that with Denny Hamlin behind that other truck.
That makes you happy, don't it, Jeff?
If I was driving it, I'd be really happy.
And we saw Joey Coulter make the pass on Pauly Haraka, so Coulter takes over the 6th spot. It's Piquet Jr., Buscher, Peters, Crafton, Bodine, your top 5. Coulter, Haraka, Paluto, Hamlin, and Townley, your top 10. A tough track to get your hands wrapped around, and right now Nelson Piquet Jr. is checking out. And welcome back to Pocono Raceway. The Pocono Mountains 125 completed 20 laps, and already pit strategy has come into play. You're looking at the 18. He's a lap down now. That's because he came onto pit road on lap 20.
I think it was a great move. Now, obviously, if the caution comes out in the next few laps before the guy in front of him, before our leader, Piquet Jr. pits, then it may not work. But he'll still get the waiver on and things be all right. But, Hermie, what are they thinking down there?
Well, Phil, they were loose on entry into the corner, so they made an air pressure adjustment. Denny looked like he made up some time coming to pit road, but a little bit of trouble on the right rear tire on the pit stop. We'll have to see how everybody shakes out once this round of pit stops is completed.
Jeff, when we were here in June for the Cup race, 22 speeding penalties on pit road. Did you have a problem, and do you understand what the problem is?
I did have a problem, and no, I don't understand what the problem was. You know, we went through it, and here's other people pitting. Everybody's doing the same strategy now. They want to get on pit road early, try to get some tires, get some speed with tires. Hopefully, you know, for the guys, they don't want a caution. They want a caution to come out as soon as Piquet hits pit road, maybe. But, you know, for me, well, pretty much everybody got caught in that last segment, and I think if we have problems today, that's where it'll be today.
Ray Dunlap.
Todd Bodine handling not very well off of the corner. He's okay on entry, but they need to make an adjustment. Rick Gay said we'll go air pressure there. They've got Northeast PA Toyota dealers on this weekend for the 11. For Crafton, he said he's pretty good through the center, just needs a little bit more forward bite in that Menards Toyota. We will see our leader this time. Nelson Piquet Jr. starts to slow down left of your screen. He will come to the pits, and I'll pick him up here in just a minute.
Now. And on pit road, Nelson Piquet Jr., lap 22 for Piquet Jr. And take a look at this. Pass on pit road.
A lot of time could be gained getting to pit road. You see Todd Bodine making up some time there as he comes to pit road.
And if you're the guy in front, you're just a set and duck, because the driver behind you says, if you went that far,
I go farther than that.
Yeah.
Right. The guys worked on their trucks on pit road. That meant we picked the pits before this race started and before qualifying. Nelson Piquet Jr. was originally in pit stall 29. By winning the pole, he gets pit stall number 1. These guys throwing 4 tires on this Chevrolet. He's good to go. Back to the other end in Hermie.
Miguel Paluto is tight, center off. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Getting back up so far. Miguel is holding up in the top 10, Ray.
29 just came in here. I was trying to get to my radio on Parker Kligerman. He said his truck is fairly neutral. He's going to have a race with the 32 getting off pit road. Back to the 31 in Hermie.
Ray, James Buscher stayed on the racetrack 1 additional lap to lead a lap to get that bonus point. He has been tight, center off. They're looking to free this truck up. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel for the 31. Ray.
Seeing multiple trucks making their way down onto pit road. You see Dakota Armstrong down there. Ty Dillon in the 3 has also made his way onto pit road. Ron Hornaday, another one. And we go back to Ray.
Well, these guys are going to have to work on pulling that fender out. They've already begun that. He has said his truck is very, very tight on late exit for that Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. They're going to pull on that fender a little bit. Still working on the right side. Ron Hornaday has just come in. He's down on my end. He's pushing. They're going to go 4 tires. They'll need 2 cans of gas. and there's a little bit of debris on the front of the nose here for Hornaday. Not sure if the guys have seen that yet. They will get these tires hung on there. They pull that off. Hornaday back to the racetrack. Here comes the number 17 of Timothy Peters. His truck is tight on the entry to the corner. Butch Hilton told me that their truck is really, really good when they're tight in traffic. They're going to make a wedge adjustment on this Tundra for number 17, Timothy Peters.
Saw how much trouble the three of Ty Dillon, how much trouble his crew had getting that right front tire back on. They were able to get it off, but because of the damage where he hit the wall off of turn number 1, they weren't able to get that tire back on. They had to go get a hammer and beat that fender out. It cost a lot of time.
Should be able to stay on the lead lap, and I like getting that damage fixed right now, Phil. That'll help him later in the race if the caution flies. And we talked about how fast of a race this is. We're already halfway.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is going by at a tremendous amount of speed, and a guy that hadn't had a whole lot of speed today, Johnny Sauter.
You know, one thing, too, about the 3 truck is that you would think you would have rather had that under caution because you wouldn't have lost as much. But actually, on this racetrack, as big as it is, with that kind of problem, he probably lost less spots under green than he would have under caution. So as silly as it sounds, having that issue under green actually probably helped him in some strange way.
We see Johnny Sauter come back out on the racetrack. And Jeff, to your point, it seems as though a lot of these drivers are driving this like a road course. The first opportunity they could come onto pit road to make it all the way, we saw Denny Hamlin do that. We knew that the pit window was around 30 to 32 laps. He came in on lap 20.
I'll tell you something else, too, about pitting. And we saw a good example of it. If you're not used to green flag stops, you got to practice it during practice. You got to come on pit road and you got to practice that. And we saw a big difference in those 2 trucks coming in. That was 4 or 5 seconds on the racetrack that got given up because he didn't get on pit road as well as he should have. And that's because you've got to practice it when you're practicing during the race, during practice rally.
You talk about people taking chances to gain some track position. We heard James Busher staying out a lap to lead to get a point. That's a chance because if the caution falls, it can hurt you. Jason White's leading the race right now in that gunbroker.com truck. He just wants some TV time for his sponsor and getting some upfront time.
And would have loved a caution. If he would have had a caution, he would have trapped quite a few guys a lap down and a lot of guys back behind him.
So you can pit early and take a chance, or you can pit late and take a chance.
And guys, we're halfway through this race here. We had 7 cautions in this race last year. Halfway through with no cautions. Raymond.
Hey, just to tell you, Jason White and Doug George both told me right before this race started they couldn't believe how finicky this truck has been on this track this weekend. They make tiny little change, half a pound air pressure, just a little bit of a wedge change, and it swings from one direction to the other. And Jason White's saying right now he's very tight on exit.
Bringing the gunbrokers.com. Ford off of pit road now, so he'll make his way back out on the racetrack. That gives Justin Lofton the lead, and Lofton has the guy who started up front just behind him, Nelson Piquet Jr., about a half a second behind Justin Lofton and closing quickly. He was fastest in practice, and he was fastest at the start of this race. Completed 28 laps before the first caution comes out, and this time it's Tim George Jr. that brings out the caution. And he's got some damage to the right front of that truck, and that is creating a little bit of tire rub on the right front tire. So
you better be careful. He's going to have a lot more damage.
Looks like somebody's probably going to have some damage to the left rear of their truck. That looks like classic up under someone and maybe some contact.
Tim George Jr. was running in the 16th spots when this happened, so he'll make his way to pit road, and that will bunch the field back up again for the restart. Stay with us. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. Mobil 1 by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. And by Atlanta Motor Speedway. 3 nights under the lights. Labor Day weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Get 2 front stretch tickets for only $99. And welcome back. A few drivers opted to come on to pit road under this caution. Again, it's our first caution. We see the 3 of Ty Dillon making his way off. Also on pit road was the 9. What'd they do, Ray?
Well, they had a vibration. Ron Hornaday came on and said his steering wheel was really shaking, so they came in to put 4 tires on that thing to find out if maybe they had a loose lug nut. I'll run down there and check on that. Also saw Justin Lofton down here putting left side tires on, and as you documented, the 3 truck down to pull on that fender a little bit more. Doc, that was all happening on lap number 30.
So just 20 laps remaining in this. We talk about it being a sprint. Only 1 caution has come out to slow the pace. It's been Nelson Piquet Jr. out in front, And James Busher was able to get out after cycling through the pit stops, and he led a few laps. But Nelson Piquet Jr. has definitely been the class of the field.
As we thought it was going to be one and done, the top 12 trucks on the racetrack all stayed out. They made their green flag pit stops, took advantage of this caution to get bunched up. I think they're done pitting.
We saw Timothy Peters, some great restarts out in Iowa to be up front. We saw Busher in Chicago do the same thing. There's our Aaron's lucky dog, Wes Burton. Is he a movie star? That sounds like a movie star's name.
Is he related to you, Jeff?
Not that I know of.
There's a Wes Craven.
Could be, but
that's
I
a
don't know.
director.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But anyway, I'm saying these guys see Nelson Piquet driving away from them. They're going to be desperate on this restart to do something with him.
Carmen, what's going on with that 2 truck?
Well, it started with a right front tire going down, Rick, and got into the fence a little bit, and then a little bit of issue on pit road communication-wise. Now they've got this truck trapped a lap down, it looks like, but it all started with a right front tire going down. They're concerned that they may have something that was rubbing that tire, so they're going to take a little extra time this time. Now they've caught up to the field to make sure to get the fender off of the right front tire so don't repeat the problem they've already had for Tim George.
Yeah, they lost a lap as they were doing that repair to that truck. Did not get out off pit road quick enough.
Great crowd on hand here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, as we're down under 20 laps remaining in this race. Welcome back. Field lining up once again for the restart. It's Nelson Piquet Jr. and James Busher that will make up row number 1.
What's the over and under on how many wide they're going to be before they get to turn 1?
It's 3, and if you were on the over of Denny Hamlin passing
Jay White
by turn 1, you won because it was over that. He got him in turn 2.
Hermie, what's happening with the 08?
Well, Ross Chastain is coming to pit road. He does not have communication with his crew chief, Brian Barrett. He can hear the spotter very good on the front straightaway, with the Long Pond straightaway, a little bit of staticky issue with he and his spotter, but no communication with the crew chief. It almost cost the 08 to miss his pit spot here on pit road. So we'll see how Ross is able to navigate the rest of this race with no communication with his crew chief.
You know, I know why Ross runs so well now. We're going to go in 2 weeks at Michigan when we're on TV. I went to the watermelon patch and grabbed him out of there. He wants to race really bad because that's a whole lot of work. What a good kid Ross is. What a great family they have. And he sure does appreciate this opportunity to be racing a truck.
One of our young drivers in this series, and another one, and joining us up here in the booth, we have Jeff Burton, but another young driver that made quite a few starts to start the season is your nephew, Jeb Burton. Now, have you been mentoring him at each and every racetrack?
Well, I mean, honestly, the first time I saw Jeb race was at Martinsville earlier this year in the truck race, because we're always racing when he races. So, you know, I thought he did a really nice job in the truck. You know, it was a little bit of an underfunded program. He put a lot of effort into it, ran and showed a lot of speed. You know, he'd love to be back out here. This is, I think, the hardest time ever for a young driver to get in the sport. There's just not many sponsors right now. When the economy loosens up a little bit, I think those opportunities will improve. He's a nice young man, deserves a shot. It's just a really, really tough time right now. And I'm taking the over on this.
Definitely over. 3 was over 3.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be 4 to 5.
And we talked about the outside line. We're getting ready to find out right now if it'll work.
We will find out. It's Nelson Piquet Jr. James Busher, green flag back in the air.
It's key that James is able to hang on that right rear fender of Piquet, and he's able to do so, getting a good push from behind. Ty Bodine up behind.
A lot of guys staying in line here. 2 by 2.
Though.
We got 3 wide there. Ty Dillon opted to back off just a bit.
There's the outside line. Looks like it's going to be leading off of 1.
That's got to make you smile, knowing there's a lot of options on this racetrack when you go to strap in tomorrow.
So now we got the big wreck.
Big wreck with Ty Bodine into the wall. Coming off of turn number 1, it looks like he hits the inside wall. And we're hearing that potentially he was involved with the 32.
30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. is what we're hearing. Possible contact there.
Everybody got bunched up over there in you know, in the middle of 1 when the outside started working.
You could see Nelson just loses the front of his truck a little bit coming up off, or no, that's not the case.
No.
Wow. Todd looked like maybe pulled over a little bit.
That's what it looked like.
That's a tough view. I mean, we're looking at it from the side, so you can't really tell what line. Here will be a better shot.
View here. Let's see what happens.
Wow.
Looked like maybe Todd was going to pull down to draft off of Busher.
Yeah, he was just going to get a little bit of a sniff of air off Busher, and Piquet held his line.
Right along with Timothy Peters.
Maybe Nelson didn't expect this move from Todd, Phil, you think?
I'd say he definitely didn't expect it. It looked like Todd was just following Busher to draft off him. Here's going to be another good view right here. You see, you move down, and Todd moves down, and unfortunately, Nelson already had his nose up there. Nelson had no idea that Todd was coming down.
And the spotters are up here where we are, and we have that same vantage point from the side, so it would have been difficult for a spotter to call that clear as far as Todd Bodine's spotter.
And I don't really think there was much reason for anyone to call clear. Look at there. Todd is very upset. Threw his helmet at PK.
Well, you know, drivers never think straight right when something happens. You know, you almost got to ignore what drivers do and say immediately after a wreck. You know, to me, that was just what it looked like to me was Todd was trying to keep that bottom line from coming. He figured they'd be lined up. He didn't want to let them be drafting, you know, running by him, so he tried to turn down and keep that from coming. So, you know, just a wreck. He'll watch a video and be all cool, but never listen to a driver as soon as a wreck is over. There's too much emotion.
Well, you're going to listen to him in a minute when we interview him, and I bet you it won't be time enough yet. Oh, he missed.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Elliott Sadler gave a real good shot once. He didn't miss. Bristol, remember that?
Second caution comes out. This time it's Todd Bodine into the wall.
The years we've won here, we've gone on to win the championship. So the fact that we've been able to be here and win gives us a lot of confidence moving forward. I hope we look back on the chase, and hopefully we have the success we think we can have, and say that Indy was a key moment for that.
Tomorrow on NASCAR Race Day, hear more from Jimmy Johnson as he explains how success at the Brickyard has given him high hopes for the chase. NASCAR Race Day, fueled by Sunoco from Pocono, tomorrow, 10 Eastern, live on Speed. Reason we're under caution for this second time is the 11 of Todd Bodine slamming into the inside wall, and it looks as though there was some contact between he and the 30. We take a look at it once again coming out of turn one.
Right as they exit turn number one, there seems to be a little bit of contact. Let's ask Nelson Piquet right now what went on here. Hey, Nelson Piquet, very quickly here. I know you're getting ready for the restart. We just watched a replay, and it looked like Todd was pulling down the racetrack to draft off of James Busher. You were holding your line, and you just came across your nose. Is that how it looked to you?
Exactly. I had all of a sudden I was in the inside. I tried to stick on his quarter panel like that. I could get a bit of I could pull him back a little bit, and he just moved into me. I had nothing to do. I've always drive clean with everybody. I've never done anything wrong, and I think it's a bit unfair the way he got pissed off, because he knows that I don't do this with people, and I just came in the series, and I'm starting to learn, getting respect from everybody, and I would never do something crazy like that.
All right, buddy, we're going to let you go. We're getting ready to go through the tunnel turn on getting ready for this restart. You've had a great truck. Now finish this thing off, huh?
Thanks, guys. See you later.
That's an honest opinion about what happened. He said, I don't do those type things. I held my line and Todd pulled over. And from the view that we saw, it looked a whole lot like Phil said so correctly. He just Todd was just trying to get some air off of James Busher.
Yeah, Todd didn't do anything wrong, but unfortunately Nelson's nose was there.
And that was a good impersonation of Nelson Piquet Jr., how you started off saying, I did not do anything wrong.
Thank you, Rick.
You were all over it. We'll be right back for the green flag. 37 laps complete from Pocono Raceway. That means when they come back to the stripe, just 12 laps will remain. How about we check up on Twitter what guys are saying? Casey Kane said, Tom, but I may want to watch the replay on that one. Need a new helmet. How about this one? Kevin Harvick also tweeted, I believe Bodine will want his helmet back that he threw when he watches the video.
Yeah, and
hashtag not clear.
Elliott Sadler twittered me. He said that was the all-star race, Mike. That's right. 2002 when Elliott Sadler threw that strike, hit Ryan Newman's A-pillar. So sometimes these guys prove what kind of athletes they really
That's
are.
what I was going to say. See, drivers are athletes.
Elliott has game, right?
He timed it out just perfectly.
We're hearing from NASCAR, driver, crew chief of the 11 truck to the hauler after the race.
And green flag goes back in the air. James Busher on the outside. Nelson Piquet Jr. on the inside. Busher, your race leader. Piquet Jr. running second. Crafton, Peters, Coulter, your top five.
There's your 3 and 4 wide guys. They're spreading out now.
Or Denny Hamlin. I thought that was Hamlin's Coulter. He made a good move there to get in the middle and ran himself to third.
So Coulter trying to hold on to the third spot. Crafton back there behind him in fourth. Out in front. Piquet Jr. and James Busher.
Those Twitters are the Cup drivers that will be racing here tomorrow. That's got to make you and those guys smile, seeing 2 and 3 wide down into turn 1 here. It's tough on these new repavement tracks to run side by side. You can see Matt Crafton there.
Ooh, up the racetrack, and there's a wreck behind him. Timothy Peters is going to slam into the wall as well.
Well,
the 82 goes around as And Sean Core.
Timothy Peters right there.
There's the damage to the front end of the 17. We saw him going around.
That's our point leader.
He was leading coming into this race.
Look at all the damage to Paulie Haraka's truck, the 5.
Had a 23-point lead over Ty Dillon.
There was a puddle of water underneath that 17 truck when he drove away, so more than likely he got the radiator on that truck.
This is a big hit right here.
A lot of damage there for Paulie Haraka.
I always get nervous when I see a truck pinned against the wall. It just makes me nervous. It may not be able to get out.
Now, we saw the 2 trucks working their way through the tunnel turn, and that's when Timothy Peters got sideways, but the accident happened behind them.
Yeah, and then there was 2 accidents. Timothy Peters wrecked up ahead, and then looked like Haraka got together behind those guys.
Yeah, no matter how much grip the racetrack has, you don't have it in the tunnel turn. It's not wide enough. You have to go through there too wide. There's no choice, but it just almost never works.
Watch Paulie Haraka really low, bad angle into the tunnel too.
On the inside of Ron Hornaday in the 9.
Oh,
just doesn't get down to the bottom.
Truck wouldn't turn when he got there for whatever reason. You know, Jeff, that angle he approached the tunnel with, it's going to make it hard to turn. But you can see Peters, he's down inside of Matt Crafton. He just loses his truck. Aerodynamically, that's a tough pass to make, whether the pavement is new or not. And you can see 2 big crashes.
Yeah, totally separate, too.
Right.
Timothy Peters' wreck had nothing to do with Paulie Haraka on Hornadays. He just got loose on the inside of that other truck, as we see happen so often. Paludo got a little piece of that. Then he did a nice job getting through there.
Hamlin checks up just a bit and is able to continue on, but you see the damage to the front of the 17. Again, Timothy Peters coming into this race, your point leader by 23 points over Ty Dillon. Right along with him.
You see, he never got to the bottom. That's because the car on the outside, truck on the outside of him, just sucked all the air off of him. He could never get the truck where he needed it. Got in trouble. The wreck after that was exactly what Michael said. He was so low entering the corner, he was going to have to slow that truck down a lot to keep it on the bottom. He just didn't get slowed down enough.
Ray, truck's coming back to you on pit road.
And I'm headed to the garage right now, Rick, but I did get a glimpse of Timothy Peters' truck. Left front damage. It doesn't appear the steering's too bad, but they do have to replace the radiator. So we'll get to the garage and give you a further update here shortly.
Yeah, not only left front, but right front as well. Looks like that whole front end of the 17 has damage on it. Again, the 9 of Ron Hornaday also involved in this. He was involved with the 5 of Paulie Haraka, and you see that truck quite a bit shorter.
A lot of damage to Hornaday's truck.
This race was going really, really calm.
We went over halfway.
Had one caution, and it just creates other cautions.
Cautions breed cautions. And you know, it's all about what we talked about. The races are short. We know how important these restarts are. We got to get all we can get. We've already seen how, once they're strung out, how difficult it is to pass. These guys are desperate. The truck guys have to go.
We knew they would be 4 or 5 wide getting in turn 1. We didn't realize it would be like that going through the tunnel turn 2.
The caution prior to this one, Todd Bodine and the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. We've heard from Nelson Piquet Jr. Let's now hear from Todd Bodine. Hermie.
Well, Todd, a disappointing early into your day-to-day here at Pocono, release from the care center. First of all, are you okay? And tell us what happened.
Yeah, I'm okay. You know, I'll take the blame for that whole thing just because I should have known better than trust an idiot to do the right thing. You know, I pulled down to draft off of James, and I should have known that Nelson wasn't smart enough to pull over with me and side draft me. You know, if it was the last lap of the race, I could see that. You know, he thinks he owes me one anyway from Kansas, I think it was. But it's a shame. Man, we had a good truck. We weren't that good in practice, and Rick, we had a problem in practice. Actually, had to change rear end seal. We lost a lot of practice, and Rick made a great adjustments for the race, and our NAPA Toyota Tundra was fast. It was really good. You know, we were going to be second going into the tunnel turn. You know, it's a shame to be taken out of a race, and you know, I know that's what went through his mind. You know, here's perfect payback, man. I'm going to take him around, and he did. He did a good job at it, and unfortunately, I got a brand new race truck that's a piece of junk now.
That's the thoughts of Todd Bodine. Rick?
Yeah, thanks, Hermie. There's so much thought that has to go into this when you talk about an incident like that, as we see Tim George getting the Aaron's lucky dog. But in this situation, when that accident took place, there were only 15 laps remaining in the race. I mean, are you talking go time with 15 to go here at Pocono?
And I don't really think Nelson Piquet Jr. in his defense had time to think about all that quickly. He just
I was thinking the same thing. I'm not sure he could have reacted that quick.
And remember what I said, never listen to a driver immediately after a race. You know, tonight he's going to wish he didn't say that.
When we come back, the green flag flies again at Pocono. Nelson Piquet Jr., James Busher have been 1 and 2 pretty much this entire race. They have been the class of the field, and they're going to start side by side once again with just 8 laps of racing remaining.
What about Nelson Piquet Jr.? He grabbed that lead back on that last restart. So Busher won the first battle, Piquet the last.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, so far I count 17 Red Horse employees back here working on Timothy Peters, number 17. They have cut the front nose off, and their first decision was, can we leave the radiator in and bypass it? The answer was no. A new radiator will go in. They've cut the front horns off. The entire nose is gone. They've got the hood off, so this will be basically a modified. There's the 17. If you pan around this way a little bit, you'll see here is the nose. They've got this part already cut off. All of the ductwork is out, and right here is his teammate's truck. Look at the damage on the front of this number 11 of Todd Bodine. 2 big hits, one for our point leader and one for his teammate, Todd Bodine.
And 2 separate agendas there, Ray. They just want to get the 11 on the truck, and they're trying to get that 17 back on the track.
Coming out of turn number 3, lights are off on the pace truck. Randy Kaiser takes that onto pit road. Field 2 by 2 behind Nelson Piquet Jr., James Busher. Green flag back in the air.
We're only going to have 7 laps to go in this race.
And Joey Coulter's going to make a run to the inside and make it 3 wide going into 1. Look at Coulter.
Inside.
2 and 3 wide, sometimes 4 behind them as they work their way into turn 1.
Denny Hamlin helped him.
Coulter has the advantage on the bottom of the racetrack.
Hamlin's got a tire rub on the right front of that truck.
Pretty significant tire rub, it looked like.
Little smoke coming out from beneath the 18 now.
Yeah, we're going to see how much track position is worth right now. You got a truck that has not been as fast as another truck in front of him. Let's see what he can make happen here.
And look at Piquet trying to run the outside of the tunnel on Denny Hamlin. He's going to be high coming off.
It's going to open up the bottom for Parker Kligerman in the 29 Ram.
Working their way into turn number 3. Kligerman on the inside, Nelson Piquet Jr. on the outside. John West Townley in the 09 back behind them.
Strong run for John West. He's up there trying to pass Nelson Piquet, guy that's dominated this race.
And Piquet's in panic mode right now. You know, he thinks he's going to win this race. Now he's back there running 5th, racing for his life. He is in full panic mode trying to make something happen.
How about the restart for Joey Coulter out in front of this field now as we have just 6 laps of racing to go?
Joey Coulter has a little bit of experience here other than the Busch race truck race last year, ARCA Series action. He knows about those restarts.
Here comes Piquet making his way back toward the front. But, Jeff, he can't spot these guys all this room and still win this race, I don't think.
No, not at all. His only chance right now is a caution. There's no way he's going to get by all these guys at this point.
We saw how important these restarts are. We talked about it at the start of the race. These guys are desperate when they throw the green, and they jump. Joey Coulter did an amazing job grabbing the lead.
Ty Dillon grabbed a spot from John West Townley.
As quickly as we talked about John West Townley running well, looks like he's falling back a couple spots. Just in front of Dakota Armstrong as we see Justin Lofton making the move now, trying to get by the 23 of Jason White.
What about Lofton from the back of the pack all the way inside the top 10 now, making the most of this day after a tough start?
5 laps of racing remain. Joey Coulter has a ½ second lead over James Busher.
We talk about all the potential first-time winners here. Joey Coulter was on that list.
It would mean a lot to him, too. He's been working really hard as a driver. He's been driving dirt carts. He's been doing a lot trying to step up as a driver. You got to give the guy credit. He has really been putting a lot of effort into just becoming a better race car driver.
Yeah, and every time he gets in a truck, he finishes in the top 10. He's got an amazing record and now leading late here at Pocono and looks like driving away from these guys.
That clean air, boy, there's no substitute for it.
You're seeing right now how much it's worth. The 31 truck is probably a good 3 or 4 tenths a lap quicker than the 22 truck. He's out front, and now it's swapped. Now it's the other way.
John West Townley powers his way back by the 6 of Justin Lofton. Here comes Jason White making his move with the 23.
Ross Chastain on the outside pushing him in the watermelon truck.
Another solid run for Ross. Racing up inside the top 10. He's just been creeping up on that top 10, and today he's there.
Piquet's been able to get by Denny Hamlin to move up a spot, get 1 notch closer to that front 3.
Inside of 4 laps remaining. Coulter, Busher, Crafton, Piquet Jr., Denny Hamlin in the 5th spot. Then it's Kligerman, Ty Dillon, John West Townley, Jason White, and Chastain, your top 10.
And that could be a significant move because now you're in the second row if you get a restart versus a third row. And that's a huge difference in having a chance to win the race between the second and third row.
Yeah, the guy leading the race was in the second row, and he took advantage of that starting spot. We talk about the aerodynamic drag these trucks produce. So when you're in that second row, you got somebody to draft off of and make a run. You get a bit better start than they do. You can really take advantage of it.
We saw it at Iowa on the short track. We saw it at Chicago on the 1.5 mile, and we're seeing it here on the 2.5 mile.
We're all talking about the caution, and Coulter's praying that there isn't one because he's going to be really hard to beat if there's no caution right here.
Joey Coulter now dominating out in front, has almost a second lead over James Busher. Good battle here. Ty Dillon trying to chase down that 29 of Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, good rebound for Parker Kligerman. Started in the 17th spots, racing up inside just outside the top 5.
And for Ty Dillon as well, bounced off the wall on the first lap.
Yeah, of all the point guys, you think about it. I mean, Ty looked like he was in the biggest trouble, early, and he's going to come out if nothing happens between now and then with a reasonable finish.
Yeah, we talk about points issues. Timothy Peters hard into the wall. He was our point leader coming in. Ty Dillon second coming in. Justin Lofton, James Busher, and Parker Kligerman top 5 in points entering this race.
You think a top 10 don't mean a lot to these guys? This is the battle. 2 by 2.
Whoa. Miguel Paludo gets loose. Lofton able to get by on the bottom.
That's your battle for 10th right there.
I'm shocked that Jason White was able to avoid Paludo because he got sideways, pulled right up in front of him, and Jason turned it hard right to go around him.
2 laps of racing remain. Joey Coulter looking for his first ever win in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
How cool would it be to get your first win by pulling off a restart like that, coming from third to first on the restart?
And not only that restart, the restart before that, if you remember, he made it 3 wide in the middle to keep third spot. If he had to done that, if he would have given that up, he wouldn't be in the spot he's in now. So he had 2 great restarts.
He's just hoping to get to the start-finish line to see that white flag. Then the next flag will end this thing. PK gets another spot from Kraft and moves up to third.
How disappointed will Nelson Piquet Jr. be in his day after having such a dominant truck leading so many laps? White flag comes out now for Joey Coulter.
If Joey can just make it back around unscathed, he's got him one.
James Busher, 9/10 of a second behind. There's RC.
There's your boss, your teammate leading the race. Good feeling, huh?
Hey, listen, when they're winning, he's happy, so I sure hope he wins. He's easier to deal with, and he's happy.
Richard Childress of RCR Racing, and he is hopefully going to be happy as they make their way down the Long Pond straightaway into the tunnel turn. Joey Coulter has one more turn to negotiate here in Pocono.
Ty Dillon has made his way by Kligerman to move up another spot.
Well, he's holding his breath right now, just making sure he doesn't make a mistake, make sure he doesn't do anything silly, hoping nothing breaks on the truck. That's a long last lap.
Phil, you talked about the experience. He's run here in the ARCA race before.
Damn, bud, you brought me to
this
tears
time,
right here. I told you could do it.
It's to victory lane. Joey Coulter wins it at Pocono. Busher holds on for second. PK Jr. moves up to third. Crafton and Hamlin your top 5. A good points day for Ty Dillon. Came in the second spot, but problems for Timothy Peters could mean Ty Dillon closing in on the top spot.
His family's put in so much to help him and to get where he is. His family's put a huge effort, put a lot of effort, time, money, and energy into trying to help Joey fulfill his dreams. So that's why you see his mom so excited. You know, it's when you win a race and your family's helped you do it, it means so much more, and that's why you saw all that emotion. Same thing we're seeing in the Olympics now. It's a great thing to see when the whole family gets excited about it.
And they put him with a great organization too at RCR here.
But don't you love it when you give a kid a chance and he takes advantage of it? He's gotten that truck top 10 week in, week out, and now he pulls into victory lane.
And again, he's been working really, really hard to be a better race car driver, and he has made huge improvements, done a great job.
And you see Ty Dillon. Obviously, Joey Coulter, somewhat in the shadow of the Dillon brothers. Austin Dillon last year, Ty Dillon this year, and now he has shined at Pocono. Let's go to the pit road and Hermie Sadler.
Well, Crew Chief Harold Holley, you've won a lot of big races in NASCAR. Where does this one stack up, getting Joey Coulter his first victory?
I'll tell you, about as big as any of them. You know, it's been a long time since I've been in victory lane. Just tickled to death for Joey Coulter. He's come such a long way since I started working with him 3.5 years ago. We got to thank everybody at Childress Racing, Richard, Mike Dillon, and ECR, all our fab shop, Danny Parker. We have such a strong support group, and our teammates, the 2 and the 3. Can't be tickled to death enough, man. I tell you, these guys did great. Our pit crew's come a long way. Just tickled to death for everybody. It's great.
That's Harold Holly. He's going to victory lane.
26th career win for Richard Childress Racing, and it comes in the hands of Joey Coulter. It's the first-time winner of this season in just our 11th race.
We saw last year that this was coming. Like, these guys were just so close to winning race after race last year, couldn't quite get to victory lane, and now a bunch of first-time winners are making it happen.
Ray talked about the first-time winners and possibly another one, and we got one today. And we're going to have more first-time winners, I think, in 2012.
And think about different winners. This is just our 11th race of the season. We're at the halfway point of a 22-race season, and this is the 9th different winner we've had go to victory lane.
You know, one thing interesting too on behind the scenes of this 22 truck is that Matt McCall, who used to drive for Robert Yates, was a Robert Yates development driver, a really good late model driver, was trying to make his way up to the nationwide program. He's the engineer on this race team. So they, between Harold Holly and Matt McCall, they have a team full of racers. These are hardcore racers. They work really hard. Real proud to see them in this race. It's the helmet.
It's got a monster on it.
And it says Coulter. This is a very unassuming young man, a 22-year-old who has been given an opportunity to drive great equipment, has shown us week in and week out that he has the ability to get to victory lane, and he proves it today. Take a look at the different winners that we've had this season. James Busher, who had a great run, finished a second in this one, the only other driver that has won more than one race this year.
It's been a very, very competitive season, as they all are here in the Camping World Truck Series. It seems like every year we say, how can we be more competitive than when we were last year? And it seems like we always do it.
We talk about the elation of being able to win. Well, how about the disappointment of having a great truck and not getting to victory lane? Let's hear from Nelson Piquet Jr.
Well, no question about it, Rick. It'll be a tough one to swallow for Nelson Piquet Jr. I know you had a fantastic truck in practice. The disappointment must be pretty tough, pal.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, these restarts over here, the straights are so long that a lot can happen, you know. Be honest, I don't know how much I was allowed to defend, maybe something I should have blocked a bit more. But when I noticed he was already beside me at the 22, so nothing I can do then. It became 3 wide again. And I hold on over there as much as I could and then try to recover, I'm sure another 2 or 3 laps could have finished second, but another race that we could have won.
He said on the radio to the team, we did all we could. They were great at Rockingham, great again today. I think a win is right around the corner for team number 30.
Such a shame. I mean, he had the dominant truck at Rockingham, a little mistake on pit road. But, Phil, in his defense, like he said, how much can you do in that situation? When you're coming down that long front straightaway, you've got other guys. When you're the lead guy, the guy in third can take a chance and maybe try to creep up when you get a little bit of momentum, and he pulled the pass off. So, tough break for Nelson Piquet.
It's time for the celebration to start. For Joey Coulter, let's go to victory lane and Hermie Sadler.
Well, Joey Coulter just pulled into victory lane. He spent a few extra moments doing some burnouts. But here he is, first-time winner in the Camping World Truck Series. Finally, a smile on the face of Joey Coulter. This whole year has been fast trucks, one thing after another, preventing you from getting to victory lane. But today you did it. Congratulations on your first career Camping World Truck Series victory. That's teammate Ty Dillon coming to victory lane. Congratulations.
I can't say enough about Richard and everybody at RCR. It was an opportunity of a lifetime to come drive for these guys, and then the equipment, the guys that they provided it's just unbelievable. I can't thank them enough. Darrell Gwynn Foundation, mom, dad, girlfriend, brother, the whole family, just keeping me in it as long as we can stay in it. It's been awesome.
Talk about that last restart, going from third to first, and once you got in clean air, you checked out.
It was, I've the whole time, it seems like I've been racing stock cars. I've struggled with restarts, and I've probably put more time into that than just about anything. And it's just awesome to close the deal. We've been so close, and it's just been awesome to finally put one together for these guys.
Watching your mom reminds me of my mom behind the pit box. She walked as many laps behind your pit box as you ran on the racetrack. Tell us your emotions as Joey gets his first victory in the Truck Series.
It's unreal.
I am so proud of him. I am so excited for him. He's worked so hard for this since he was 8 years old. He's been working hard every day, and he did this one himself, you know, and his team. We have the best team in the world, and I just want to thank RCR for giving him the opportunity, and he's just, I'm so happy.
A lot of emotions, always fun to watch a first-time winner in Victory Lane. Rick.
Thanks, Hermie. Joey's saying right now, come on, Mom. I'm supposed to do the interviews. You're getting all gushy on me here. But she has every right to be, because Joey Coulter, newest winner in the Camping World Truck Series.
I love Pocono.
Welcome back. They're pushing the truck out of Victory Lane already. Things happen quick around here. 50-lap race. It was Joey Coulter who celebrates after the Camping World Truck Series win. Now let's hear from Hermie Sadler.
We want to get a word with the truck owner, Richard Childress. Congratulations. Joey Coulter gets his first career Camping World Truck Series victory.
I mean, I couldn't be happier for the whole Coulter family, and Joey and Harold, Holly. Everybody's worked so hard. He's had so many fast trucks, and to finally put it together, he did it on that restart, and you know, the credit goes to him for getting in there and gouging and making it happen.
And also, we want to get a word to Ty Dillon. Made contact with the wall on lap 1. Could have been another devastating day, but this team has shown a lot of determination as well. He comes back for a 6th-place finish.
Yeah, I couldn't be prouder of them. You know, Ty just drove it off in there. He said the front didn't settle and just went in there and hit the wall and come back to get a 6th out of everything they did today. I was really proud of them.
That's a good day for Richard Childress Racing. Let's go to Ray. He's got our runner-up.
Well, 2nd place run today for James Busher, and it'll be a big jump in the points, just 15 out of the lead now.
Yeah, going from 35 out of the lead to 15 out of the lead is good. I mean, that's what we got to do. And we knocked some off of the last race, winning Chicago, and you know, I thought we would have a shot at it today. And the 22 put us 3 wide. And I was thinking I just need to get in the corner, but being 3 wide when there's less grip on the top is pretty hairy. But my truck was just so tight. Anytime we didn't have laps on the tires, and all those cautions after cautions just kept getting it tighter and tighter. Tires kept getting colder and colder just riding around our cautions. So good day for us, and you know, Quickie Chevy was really fast. I don't think we got a dent on it, so we'll dust it off taking to Michigan.
You know, you're killing the average finish for chassis 214 now.
Yeah, I know. It's 3 out of 5 now instead of 3 out of 4 that we took it to Victory Lane, but we'll go for 4 out of 6 at Michigan.
All right, keep the ball rolling. Busher gaining ground today here at Pocono.
I bet he's a little bit confused about how to win a championship. Last year he missed a race and was about leading the points. This year he's won the most races and he's 3rd in the points. That's got to make him scratch his head.
Let's look at our Ford point standings. Timothy Peters has a 8-point lead over Ty Dillon. Again, an unfortunate incident for Timothy Peters, getting involved in an incident coming through the tunnel turn. And so Peters ended up 22nd in this race, 10 laps back, but still holds on to the point lead.
Yeah, but look what a tight point battle we have. Only 18 points back to Justin Lofton in 4th, and Matt Crafton now, Parker Kligerman, I think, are in this thing.
Yeah, I love that. We got 6 trucks that are battling for this championship, and Joey Coulter said, well, I won today. Put me in there. I'm only 10 or 15 behind those guys.
For today, Nelson Piquet Jr., Jason White rounding out our top 10 in points. Again, 43 points you can earn in a race, so you see our top 6 are all within 1 race of the points lead.
Good stuff. We always have a great championship battle here in the Camping World Truck Series, and this year certainly is no exception. A guy that kind of got off to a slow start but rebounded, Denny Hamlin. Ray, you caught up with Denny?
Well, no question about it. High expectations for team number 18. Denny Hamlin, a 5th today, but I see a good bit of damage to the front of this racetrack.
Yeah, it just definitely wasn't the day we were looking for. It just never could overcome it. You know, the power of those guys in front of us was big, and we just didn't have a great handling truck. So all that combined, it's tough to get the track position that you need. And but got to thank you know, everyone from GNC for coming on the truck this week. Toyota for supporting it, NOS, and Toyota, M&M's, Dollar General, Flexco. They're all big supporters of Kyle Busch Motorsports, and thank Kyle for putting me in it. It's, you know, one of my favorite racetracks, and now I can hopefully give him a little bit of feedback for what I feel like this program needs to work on.
Trying to make it better for sure, but when you look at the nose on this truck, he had a lot to work with.
Overcome.
He did have a lot to overcome there. How about that trophy? That's beautiful.
Nice.
They're all good looking. When you have them, they're all beautiful.
Could be a piece of paper, right?
Yes.
It's going to look even nicer on the mantle at home for Joey Coulter, celebrating win number 1 in the Truck Series. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. By Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. And by Atlanta Motor Speedway. 3 nights under the lights, Labor Day weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Get 2 front stretch tickets for only $99. A few more tweets that came up right after the checkered flag flew. How about this one from RCR22 Jay Coulter? Yeah, first win for Joey Coulter. And then we also heard from Chris Buescher. I'm so darn happy for Joey Coulter. I love seeing first-time winners. Gave me chills. How about Austin Dillon, brother to Ty? Man, that was awesome. Congrats to Joey Coulter. What a guy that is so deserving of winning. And let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, coming into this race, Timothy Peters had finished in the top 10 in every race except for Texas, where he was 11th. Today, not so good. So is it a glass half full or half empty for you?
It's full still. I mean, we had a bad day, but we made the best of the adversity. I really want to thank everybody at RHR for jumping in and making the repairs so we could get that one lap, and we didn't fall out, so that's a good thing. We knew it was coming. We just hope this is only one of one, but had a great truck, great Toyota Tundra. Just didn't have enough to get up there to sneak that lead, but all in all, a great effort all weekend long. We're getting there. This package is getting closer and closer. The high speed with the aero plays a big advantage. Joe Gibbs Race Engines. Guys back at the shop, thank you. You know, you work your tails off. Sorry, we got some tore-up trucks to come back home, but those guys will put it back brand new, and we'll go to Michigan and get them.
What was the feel like out there today, Timothy? You know, I know everybody tries to balance on what aero package to have. Were you happy with the way the truck handled?
I was happy with the way it handled, but with the pavement, the track has so much grip. And watching a little bit of the Cup race earlier this year, it seemed like everybody was making their moves on the restart, and after that, everybody was spread out. Same thing with the trucks, just a little bit more intense. So, you know, we got in trouble over there in the tunnel turn. I believe somebody came up in the middle. I can't remember who it was, and then just the way the aero balance was through the tunnel turn, I got sucked around. So, nothing I can do but hold on. All
right, Timothy Peters will finish 22nd today. Let's hear from Justin Lofton. I believe he's with Hermie.
Yeah, I got Justin Lofton. If you see you finish 9th, that might not excite you too much, but everything your team overcame today to salvage that 9th place finish, got to be pretty proud of your team.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone on the Millennium VIP Jet Services truck did a great job today. We don't have a lot of time between qualifying the race, and I happen to back the good truck into the fence. But good thing is you know, we've got a dedicated owner that has really good trucks in the, you know, basically waiting for us in the box, and we pulled out our Iowa truck and had a good day. We fought super loose all the first whole run, and after that we started pitting a lot and just really working on the truck. And if we would have had what we had at the end of the race for the last 7 laps at the beginning, we probably would have been up in the top 5 easily.
That's Justin Lofton. They rebound for a 9th place finish.
That's how you win a championship, Rick. You fix your truck and you recover from adversity, just like we saw Lofton do in this race, and also Ty Dillon, like you mentioned, fell into the wall in lap 1 and fighting their way back.
And you also keep optimism. You know, he got in a wreck, ran well, got in a wreck, and you would have thought he won the race. You know, his attitude was great. He was like, we're going to go next week and get them. Guys worked hard. You know, you can't, this sport will drive you in the ground. You can't let it do it. You got to move right on past it.
He's definitely a glass half full kind of guy.
How about the strategy that we saw play out here? A 50-lap race. We saw guys come in at lap 20. They played it backwards.
We called that before the race. We thought we would see the team start to pit early. Denny Hamlin's team was the first to come to pit road, and within the next 2 or 3 laps, everybody had gotten their service done, and if you had a good truck, you weren't coming back to pit road.
As a matter of fact, the highest finishing truck that pitted under caution was Ty Dillon in 6th.
First-time winner.
Big smiles on the face of Joey Coulter. Grabs that first win here in the trucks. Ram Guts and Glory from Pocono Raceway. How about the restart for Joey Coulter? Restarted 3rd. He was on the inside of row number 2. Dives down below Nelson Piquet Jr. going into turn 1.
He jumped out and got that clean air and was able to drive away from that group. What a nice job. This is from Denny Hamlin's GNC on board. You see Joey move out now. Got a good toe off the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. Cleared him getting in one.
And Piquet didn't do anything wrong. You know, he didn't do anything wrong at all. There's nothing else he really could have done. Maybe block more. Other than that,
or maybe next time leave a little sooner. Try to surprise them. But like you said, you're kind of a sitting duck, especially in a big old aerodynamic pig like a truck.
We talked about drivers having to come from adversity. How about Ty Dillon on the first lap, gets into the wall, but then able to rebound for a 6th place finish. Let's hear from him. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, Ty, you guys are making a habit of making it very, very exciting for your team. You guys battled back for a 6th place finish. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, I really hurt our team at the beginning there. Just made a mistake, drove in too hot underneath the 30, and never really got enough air on the nose, and really pushed bad off of one and hit the wall. And just kind of put ourselves in a hole. We came in under the pit stop on the under green and couldn't get the right front tire off, so we had a really slow stop. But we battled all day. We had an awesome truck. That's what I feel so bad about, is we had a truck that could have won the race, especially to come from where we were to 6th. Still a good day. 6th place isn't too bad. If you're mad about 6th place, you're having a good day. So I think we narrowed the gap on the points lead a little bit. Just happy for everybody. Got to thank Bass Pro Shops and Tag Heuer Eyewear, University of Northwestern Ohio, Chevrolet. Everybody helps out. It's a tough day for me. I feel like I let my team down a little bit, but still had a good day. So we're going to go into Michigan, and hopefully that'll be our turn. And really happy for Joey Coulter. He's an awesome guy, and he's put his time in, and well-deserved driver. And for a guy who flies under the radar, nobody really talks about him as much as they should. He's a great driver, and glad he proved himself today.
That's Ty Dillon, currently 8 points out of the championship lead. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Matt Crafton qualified 9th and came home 4th. Tell me about your day here on the Tricky Triangle.
Not a bad day, really. I mean, just restarts were actually pretty good. Where our friend and I, or today, but after about 3 laps, I would just get terrible tight through the tunnel in turn 3, and I could run with them for a few laps, and then, like I said, they drive away from me. We seem to make the race a little bit longer so we can make one more adjustment on this Menards Gel-1 Toyota Tundra. But not all in all, not a terrible day. I mean, just need a few more laps.
There was a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing out there. Was it fun?
It was very hairy. We'll just put it that way. There's a lot of holding your breath moments.
Okay, maybe not fun, but hairy for Crafton.
A lot of hold your breath moments. How about Joey Coulter? Jeff Burton, you made the comment. He's probably holding his breath all the way through turn number 3 on that final turn, but he does get his first win in his 36th start.
I'm real happy for him. You heard Ty's interview there. You know, here's a guy that's grandfather's owns the race team, and the first thing he said was, I'm disappointed I let my team down. You know what I mean? That's why both those Dillon boys are really good. They don't feel privileged. They feel honored to have an opportunity to race. And, you know, here's a guy a lot of people probably say, well, he doesn't have anything to worry about. He internally does. You know, he puts more pressure on himself than maybe the people outside. And that's why both of those guys will be long time contributors to this sport.
And genuinely happy for his teammates, Joey Coulter.
No question. No
yeah, he came to Victory Lane and gave him a big old bath in victory. That was awesome.
Next up on the Pocono Raceway, it's the ARCA Racing Series. They're about to take on the 2.5-mile triangular track. The Just for Men Auto Stop fastest pit stop today, the 18 team. He started it all off on lap number 20, came in, and that set the strategy for everyone else.
Yeah, then he was about 9th when he came to pit road. He was the first one to come. He emerged in 6th after everything shook out. Everybody had made their pit stop. So great pit work by these guys. Plus, then getting on and off pit road.
Now let's head back to pit road and Hermie Sadler.
Well, John West Townley, it was a good, solid top 10 run today, and you guys were solid from the drop of the green flag. Congratulations on the top 10.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, it's been a pretty good weekend here for us. You know, we've been getting better and better in the truck every weekend, I think. Real proud of these guys. I can't thank them enough. I mean, you know, it's a learning experience for me as much as it is, you know, for this team. You know, and getting these good finishes, you know, is just doing nothing but helping us out here. And you know, I'm really excited, and I just got to thank Toyota and RB Racing. I mean, they do a really good job on it.
That's John West Townley. He comes home with an 8th place finish today, Rick.
Thanks, Hermie. And John West Townley, another driver who has advanced from the ARCA Racing Series and made his way up into the Camping World Truck Series. One driver who has been extremely good at this racetrack in the ARCA Racing Series is Brennan Poole. He won the race here just about a month ago, and now will start up front in today's race. Let's hear from him. He's with Jim Trado.
In a few minutes, Brennan, you get to lead the field to green again here at Pocono. A short race, though. What are you thinking right now? Is it a points race or a mad dash for a victory?
Oh, well, we're race car drivers, so we're out here to get the win. But I'm just proud of these guys. They worked hard yesterday. We struggled a little bit. We had to get this thing dialed in, and just so proud of them, man. They did such a great job. Dialed the 25 right in, and we had a heck of a qualifying run. So we're gonna start the field for my third time in my career at Pocono. So this is pretty exciting. But I'm just looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's a short race, so pit strategy is gonna be crazy. It's going to be exciting to see what everybody does and see how this thing plays out. I think it's going to be a ton of fun.
Your points rival, Chris Buescher, is now just 10 points ahead of you. You're pitted next to each other. What are your thoughts about maybe one pit stop and how critical that'll be?
I think the pit stop is going to be key today. Track position is going to be key. It's really hard to pass in this new surface, and aero is so important with these cars. So we're just going to have to see how it plays out. But, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
We wish you well, Brendan.
Thank you.
Pole sitter for the ARCA race coming up in a few minutes, Rick.
Thank you, Jim Trano. And again, the ARCA race coming up momentarily. We've just wrapped up our truck race from a 2.5-mile triangular racetrack that was newly repaved this year. How about the next stop for the trucks? They go to Michigan, a very fast 2-mile racetrack.
They're going to run wide open for a long time at Michigan.
Yeah.
That's going to be an amazing race.
In 2 weeks, the Camping World Truck Series convoy heads to the Irish Hills as it visits the Michigan International Speedway. It's the halfway mark of the season, and the championship is still up for grabs. Every race, every lap, and every point matters. And everybody will be looking to make an impact in Michigan. But only one can come out on top. Chris Devoto hosts the setup starting at 12 p.m. Eastern, followed by flag-to-flag coverage, only on Speed.
So many times we talk about momentum going into the next race. Well, after 11 races, we've had 9 different winners. So really, who has the momentum as we go to Michigan?
Well, right now, James Buescher is on it. Now, he's won 3 mile and a half. We've had 5-mile-and-a-half races. He's won 3 of them. We got to clump Michigan pretty much in that mile-and-a-half category. Very, very fast now with another repave. Remember, it's going to be the first time for the truck guys on a repaved racetrack.
Well, I think that's the wild card, is that this is a new racetrack. They've been to Michigan before, but not like this. And as Michael said, they're going to be wide open for a long time. There's a tremendous amount of grip. So I don't know who you would say the favorite is, because it is a different kind of racetrack than they've raced on all year long.
Well, just think about this place. We said this place was going to be wide open. This was a wild card race, and the history, the experience that the Denny Hamlins have, that's not going to play into the result today, and we were correct. It'll be the same thing next week. I look for Ty Dillon, who ran into the wall in lap 1 this week, recovered. I look for that team to be really strong at Michigan. I think he might get his first win there.
You talk about the contact on lap number 1. Let's take a look back at how these 50 laps went by so quickly. There was when Ty Dillon kissed the wall out of turn 1.
Got another view over there. Just said lost the front end, got a little bit tight there.
Can you imagine sitting around all morning waiting to race, and first turn you hit the wall? That's got to be a little bit depressing.
And on the first lap, Johnny Sauter has to go behind the wall because they have to change the transmission.
Troubles all year long on this truck. A lot of mechanical troubles.
Second caution happens as they come out of turn number 1, and the 11 comes down on the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr., and the most damage goes to Todd Bodine.
Yeah, Ty was just pulling down the draft off of James Buescher. Nelson was there, really had nothing he could do about it.
And then watch Timothy Peters get loose on this inside of Matt Crafton and go for that's our point leader spinning down the short chute here at Pocono.
And amazingly enough, just behind them, there was also an accident happening with Paulie Haraka and Ron Hornaday.
Yeah, Paulie pulled to the inside to make it 3 wide going in the tunnel turn. There he is right there. Actually, wasn't, but he just had a bad angle. He couldn't quite get the truck down and went up and made some contact with Ron.
That's just a rookie mistake there. He didn't have the angle he needed to make the turn, and Ron Hornaday was on the outside there and crashed both those trucks. 4
trucks damaged in that one, but in the end, it was Joey Coulter with a great restart with just a few laps to go in the race, was able to jump to the inside of Nelson Piquet Jr., go by James Buescher, and then win the race by a half a second. A dominant performance by Nelson Piquet Jr. to start the race, but in the end, it was the restart that determined who went to victory lane, and it was another first-time winner in the Camping World Truck Series. Thanks for joining us. Coming up next, it's ARCA Racing from Pocono.